Luffy is the sun in this show. So I was rewatching this scene and I noticed the lamp. Watch the lamp. Talks about execution and death and the flame flickers. There's a single light and everything else is shadow. And as soon as he talks about death, the flame goes out. But now he's talking about hope and about a child. And suddenly the flame's back. Now maybe this is just the way they animated this. Maybe it's just supposed to be a metaphor for their two wills battling. But if he has the sun fruit, the flare fruit, the fire fruit, if Gold Roger's fruit is the sun fruit, look at this one smile. Look at that, look at that. And then just this week, yes, I'm an anime watcher, I'm not caught up with the manga, so maybe this stuff has already been figured out. The moon unaware of the dawn. Now this could all be Wano only, but this seems to have more... The brilliance of dawn. Luffy is the sun in this show. So it seems to always have been related to the sun and to the sky. Luffy believes in freedom, and the most true free thing in the world is the sun. I can't believe that this is in full screen, it's so old. 400 years? There's this generational thing with keeping people out of the sun in One Piece. The celestial dragons, the One Piece, I think, is the sun. There he is. So we still don't know what that was. Was that Haki? Was that dragon's devil fruit? We still don't really know. Even Smoker doesn't know. Awesome. And here's some other much debated things. The weather changes in the Grand Line. So this is Vids4U's 1.1 million view video about Gold Roger's powers. So many people think Gold Roger's power has to do with weather, but the more and more I think about it, also Crocus. Keep the straw hat and Crocus in mind as well. When you think about weather, the most influential thing about weather is probably the sun. So I think people were right. Oh, by the way, Rayleigh as well. If you don't know what Rayleigh is, Rayleigh scattering is the way that the light bounces through raindrops in the atmosphere. So if you put the sun and Rayleigh together, it just makes perfect sense. Rayleigh scattering is how light moves through raindrops. And that makes him perfect for fighting Kizaru, because when he fights Kizaru and he bounces the light away, it's because he has Rayleigh scattering. But Goldie Roger, his power I don't think was weather, I think it was the sun. So this all sort of came to be when I was watching the Rocks Pirates episode and I realized, no interested in conquering anything. The sun doesn't conquer, but it shines on everything. You can be as you please. And his reason for wanting, he doesn't want to rule everyone, he doesn't want to tell everyone what to do, he just wants to not be told what to do. That's what the King of the Pirates is, the man who can't be told what to do. If you can do as you please, there's no point in being a pirate, is there? That's true freedom. You're not a pirate, you're not a marine, you're just a person. The sun is true freedom in this world. And that egg thing, we still don't know what it's about. It could be powers. Right here, this little egg. Who knows, it could be an actual dragon, because we've seen them in One Piece. It could be anything. It could be the hat. I have no clue. Like, you know the big hat that that Green Bull has? It could be that hat. I don't know what's in there. Now, is this just fate that the sea got rough? One could think it could respond to their Haki. But there's thunder and lightning, which is dragon's power. Anyways, we still don't know those two scenes. Dragon's devil fruit and what's in that little egg thing. We don't know. If the flare fruit has been misidentified all this time, and it's actually the sun fruit, it would be probably the most searched after thing by the world's government, if their justice can shine on everyone. Now, I'm still not convinced on this theory, but it would be pretty cool if the flare fruit or fire fruit was actually the sun fruit. Because a sun, technically, a sun is light surrounded by pure darkness. And Luffy versus Blackbeard, oh, I hate that guy. Yeah, so Marshall D. Teach. So darkness is the absence of light. And in One Piece, I do think the sun is sort of true freedom. It's been following Luffy this whole time. The shadows on Moria. When I first saw this scene, I just knew that it was going to be important in the end. I believe that this is the first time we saw Luffy as he could be and would be in the future. Now, when you think of Gear 4 and you think of the Kong form and all of this, it kind of really reminds me of this shadow form. Go for it. So if you combine the sun with the shadows, it's always been there in One Piece. It's always been there. Look at him right here. Do you think he could take on Kaido if he got all the shadows of, like, the Shishibukai and, like, what if they did this nowadays? He's giant. He's gone Saiyan. But the shadow thing, I really, really, really like it, and I always wondered how they're gonna do it. The most powerful things in One Piece have to do with either shadow or light. Did he just kill all those people? I never realized that before. So he can just cut off the shadow, but the shadow isn't Blackbeard's fruit. Interesting. Oh man, this is like a horror movie. They did a good job. That'd be scary. Ooh. So that's not Blackbeard's fruit, but it feels like it could and should be, doesn't it? You gotta wonder how much of this was revisions in the story, or if how much was meant to be, or oh, ugh. But he's now kind of one of the most powerful people in One Piece. If you bring him back right now and, like, he could do that to the admirals or whatever. Like, oh, he could do that to Garp if the circumstances were correct. In Avatar, The Last Airbender, Zuko is a firebender. He can make fire shoot out from his hands, and the way he does it is with anger. But he realizes when he lost his drive and anger of killing his enemy that he needed a new source. So they went and found the Sun Warriors. It said that the true source of fire in the airbending universe was the sun. Now look at this and tell me it doesn't remind you of a straw hat. A sunflower. It's almost exactly like the straw hat, isn't it? I mean, come on. You couldn't ask for anything more straw hat looking. I mean, just look at that. Dr. Crocus. If Crocus had a sunflower sort of brother, that'd be interesting. Also, you remember when Frankie made this? The new ship? Look at the front of the ship. It's a sun. I mean, it's also like the sunflower, but it's a lion. But the sun is everywhere in One Piece. It's on his ship. It's on his hat. He's the dawn of Wano. He's this, he's that. He's always the light. Look at that ship. It's basically the sun in the form of a ship. If you were trying to draw a ship that looked like the sun, you couldn't do a better job than that. Just because we're talking about everyone that's important, can't forget Mary. Mary's the best. Mary's the best. I mean, if Mary can have fan videos online, that's pretty good. If you get people making music videos about your ship, that's pretty awesome. That was a perfect first ship, but now we're on to the new one. Thanks, Mary. But its name, too. Come on, Iceberg, show us what you got. There it is. So you notice instead of a skull and crossbones, it's a sun and crossbones, which is, it's like, that's pretty cool. So it's a sun, got the big straw hat, which is like another sun. I don't know, everything about it is sun, 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 and of course Thousand Sunny as well. Great job. Good thing they went with the next names. Nope, next name. Nope, next name. What a terrible name. Alright, someone made a little music video, and it's called Chasing the Sun. You can see there's lots of, like, I don't know, it just seems to all revolve around the sun. There's just perfect. And then there's another video called Sunrise. It's always darkest before the dawn, isn't it? One Piece is very much like the Batman thing. That's right, they are the sunrise. But this picture here with Luffy looking up at the sun, that's sort of like, it's iconic, isn't it? Like, it's him cheering at the sun. It's the way it's always been. Like, he'd go on the adventure if it was just him and the sunshine and the waves. Like, he's always been like that. Actually, just looking at this thumbnail from Luke Castillo, that's great. It's actually sort of like the sun and the moon, isn't it? That's interesting. Just leave that there for people to think about, but wow, I never realized that. I'm gonna look at this and see if there's any cool things. The sun. The official clip from Funimation, and they named it the sun, so are they gonna be looking at Luffy or an actual sun? Oh, it is the sun. Oh, so I guess this is the first time Shirahoshi saw the sun. Which, again, it's just so tied to Luffy. Luffy is going to bring the fishmen into the sun. Like, it's been everywhere. It's been from Fishman Island. It's been from the very first series. From Enel wanting to rule as a guy in the sky. Like, Enel wants to be the sun, but he can't. Everyone in One Piece wants to be the sun. Except for Blackbeard, who wants to, like, consume all light in the universe. Now we're going to do the very, very last thing that I think gave me the clue. So, the island of Raftel. We've seen bits of it, thanks Tekking. Tekking, I'm going to use your video, don't sue me. Hopefully you have some good thumbnails. If this is the map that you're looking at, of the red line, and the very, 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 very last island, nope, not that one. That's not the very last island. Very last island would be right about here, wouldn't it? And it would be a sunrise. Now, originally, when I learned about the Celestial Dragons and this and that, I always thought maybe we were going to go to the moon, and Raftel was like a path to the moon or something. I don't know. Like, Raftel might be like the way that the Celestial Dragons, I always thought Celestial was actual space, but if Raftel, the last actual legendary island, the One Piece, is the sun, it just makes sense. You go straight to the sunrise. Not one other soul has reached there alive. If you had, like, the most hacky ever, could you, like, walk into the sun? I honestly don't know. Is there something in the sun? Is the hat connected? Did Joy Boy get to the sun first? And then it was the hat, and then Roger tried— ooh, well, that was scary. That was like Luffy just turned into a demon there. Like, he opens his mouth and all of a sudden there's this— it's like he transformed into a demon. That was a scary fade. It's always the sun. If Raftel, if the One Piece, if all of it is the actual sun, I mean, would that change anything? Would that change nothing? But the One Piece, the Flare Flare Fruit, Roger's powers, it's all the same thing. It's all the same thing. To be continued next time. Dum 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 dum.